All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are diving deep into a really explosive theory that's been making the rounds online. It's a theory that claims there's a secret, hidden connection between two absolute giants: BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, and Ripple, a powerhouse in the crypto space. We're going to unpack what this is all about. So, where does this all come from? Well, it all kicks off with this single, incredibly dramatic claim. This is literally the first line from the source material we're looking at today. It comes from a researcher who says they've stumbled onto a plot so massive it could completely change finance as we know it. So, what's this big secret, right? According to the source, it's what they found after a marathon 78-hour deep dive. I mean, can you imagine? No sleep, just poring over a 300-page document they say was found buried on some dark server, connecting dots that nobody else had ever seen. And all of that digging led to this, the core claim. And honestly, it is a bombshell. The idea is that BlackRock and Ripple aren't just partners. They're not just working together. No. The theory says they are secretly operating as one single company. The money, the people, the grand plan, it's all supposedly one and the same. Okay, a claim that big, you can't just throw that out there. You're going to need some serious evidence to back it up. So this brings us to the first pillar of the theory, the so-called proof in the finances. The source says they just followed the money. And to really get the scale of what we're talking about, you have to start with this number: $10 trillion. That's what BlackRock manages. It's an amount of money that's almost impossible to even picture. And according to this theory, that financial power is the key to this whole thing. And here is where it gets really interesting. This is the heart of their financial argument. The source claims that if you look at a very specific chunk of BlackRock's asset flows, it is a perfect mirror image of activity on the XRP ledger. We're talking identical wallet movements, identical timestamps. I mean, what are the odds? The source pretty much asks, can this really just be a coincidence? And just to show how confident they are, the author of this theory puts it very plainly. The numbers don't lie. They're arguing this isn't some random statistical fluke. No, this is deliberate, calculated proof of a connection that's been hidden from everyone. But it doesn't just stop with the numbers. The theory then pivots to the human element. It claims there's a whole hidden network of people, the actual architects, who are making all of this happen behind the scenes. And apparently, at the very center of this web of people is one mysterious figure. The source document keeps talking about this key person who orchestrates everything from the shadows. They even give them a code name, the architect. Who they are is a total mystery, which just adds another layer of intrigue to the whole thing. The source then points to what it calls the revolving door between BlackRock and Ripple. It highlights this pattern where you see executives leave these major roles at BlackRock only to pop up in really strategic positions at Ripple. The theory suggests these aren't just normal career moves. It's a deliberate placement of key people to make this whole integration possible. So if any of this is true, you've got to ask the big question: why? What's the end game here? Well, according to the source, the motive is simple, and it's absolute: total control. And the supposed internal codename for this whole operation? Project Unity. Total control of what, though? Control over the entire tokenized economy of the future. This is the idea that pretty soon everything of value, stocks, real estate, fine art, you name it, is going to be a digital token on a blockchain. And whoever builds and controls that system, well, they basically control the future of finance. So, how would they pull it off? The source actually lays out an alleged 4-step plan. Step 1. BlackRock starts quietly integrating Ripple's XRP tech into its own frameworks. Step 2, and this is a huge part of the theory, they use their immense political power to create regulatory smokescreens, basically keeping the SEC distracted with Ripple's big public court cases, while the real integration is happening behind closed doors. Then, Step 3, finalize the merger, Project Unity. And Step 4, game over, total domination of the new economy. This brings us to the future. Because this theory isn't just about what might have happened in the past, it makes some very concrete, very specific predictions about what's coming our way. And it's coming soon. According to the supposed leaked roadmap, the timeline is super tight. The Project Unity merger is slated to be finalized this year, 2024. Then, wouldn't you know it, all those regulatory problems with the SEC just conveniently wrap up in 2025. And then, in 2026, that's the grand reveal. That's when BlackRock's tokenized assets are set to go public on the XRP ledger. So, why should you care about any of this? Well, the potential impact would be just massive. The theory suggests XRP's value could absolutely skyrocket as trillions of dollars in assets get tokenized. But it also warns of a darker side, a new era of centralized control, where one single entity gets to decide who wins and who loses. For the average investor, the source calls it a perilous journey.
And so the source material doesn't end with a neat little conclusion. It ends with a challenge, a direct challenge to everyone listening. The author basically says, hey, don't just take my word for it. Go look for yourself. Search the XRP ledger, check BlackRock's filings, and tell me I'm wrong. Wow. That's definitely a thought that leaves you wondering.